really brings us to this whole idea of mindset, which is another really popular topic in sport and exercise psychology. And the way that I usually talk about it with people is this idea that we sort of have two versions of ourselves that exist within us all the time. One version, it loves the challenge, loves improving, is always seeking out opportunities to improve, and as a result, they're like totally willing to suffer for it. They're willing to feel uncomfortable. Whereas the other version, which can be really loud and convincing sometimes, just wants to be safe. Would rather stay comfortable, doesn't want to risk embarrassment, negative emotions, discomfort. So it sounds like you have totally figured out how to be that sort of high performance version most of the time, where you're always seeking out the challenges. Is there anything that sort of stands out for you as to how you do that, how you make that choice on a daily basis to be that version of yourself?
I don't know. I don't really know, but like one kind of example would be at the start of the online qualifiers, the very, very first workouts, I didn't do that well. So I didn't, and myself and my partner went into my home gym on the Saturday evening. So I did it on the Friday. On the Saturday I was like, I just didn't do good, and I rang my coach and he was like, yeah, I think that's just where you're at for now. And I was like, no. I was like, that's not where I'm at. If that's where I'm at, I might as well just retire. I'm done. And my partner, we were just cycling the barbell and practicing burpee footwork and stuff. And my partner just says to me, he was like, right, if that's where you're at, he was like, you're done. He was like, just stop. He was like, why are you torturing yourself? And I was like, I'm not done. I am not done. And on the Monday, I did the workout again and went fastest in the world. And then I actually cut my head out of the video. So I had to go again 90 minutes later. And I went even faster again.
Wow.
So I did. And yeah, I think for me, it was just I don't know, other people motivate me as well. It's nearly my coach says, that's just where you're at. And I just wasn't willing to accept that. And then whenever my partner says to me, he was like, do you know what? If that's where you're at, just quit. I was like, no. So stuff like that as well, outside motivation as well motivates me. It's nearly I do it solely for myself, but it's nearly well, I'm going to prove you wrong. I was like, I'm going to prove that I can do this. And this is not me. I can be the best in the world, and I will prove you. And that was the first ever workout I've ever won in my life. So it was pretty cool, statement to start it after how bad the Friday went. Just to change that mindset in literally 2 days. So that was pretty cool.
So cool, because you basically took that, not ideal result, and instead of taking it as proof that you weren't good enough, you took it as a reason to try harder, as just almost like a momentary piece of feedback that told you, yes, where you were at in that particular moment in time, but you didn't let it define who you were going to be as a CrossFit athlete. I think that's so important, because sometimes when people get that type of result where it's not what they expected or it's not what they wanted, they take it as evidence that they can't do it. So we've obviously just gone through this crazy experience with COVID. You've had to adjust and adapt a lot to changing plans. We talk about the ability to adapt and adjust as being a really key part of kind of that high performance mind state, because even without COVID, as athletes, we tend to experience unexpected changes and different pressures. How do you sort of stay in that willing to adapt place where you're able to go with the flow?
Okay, it's hard, at the start of obviously lockdown, I just had to say to my coach, I can't keep this 3 sessions a day of horrible, just terrible training that I don't enjoy doing, because you're working weaknesses. It's not fun. I was like, I can't keep this up. I was like, we need to change now. I was like, because I'm literally looking at my program and I'm like, don't want to do. And I was like, I don't know what I'm training for. And I have no real purpose at the minute. So I was like, look, can we just chill out a wee bit here? And that's just when we started, right, what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to PB my 10K. I want to PB my 5K.
Yeah.
I want to PB my mile. So we were just like, let's focus on running.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to get stronger. I was like, I want to PB my bar muscle-ups. I want to PB my ring muscle-ups. I was like, so then it was like, right, let's do the things that we need to do to set those goals. So we just like changed our focus. So we did for that little time frame of the uncertainty of what was happening.
Yeah.
And then obviously once the games announced, right, it's happening, we were like, okay, let's switch the focus now and let's start back in the games prep. So it was just like switching the focus.
Yeah.
So it was to keep certain goals. So we just at the start of lockdown, instead of like just like completely destroying my soul with all the stuff I hate doing, we just changed the focus and we're like, right, you pick a goal.
Yeah.
And I was like, sweet. Well, I still hate running, but I was like, I picked this goal, so I'm going to work on it.
Yeah.
I've asked for this. Yeah. And it's the same as the muscle up progression. I literally didn't go on a bar for nearly 14 weeks because we were working on like core progressions, lat progressions, etc. So I was like, how is this getting my goal? But I trusted the process, and then I PB'd my bar muscle ups. So stuff like that. It's just changing your focus and like hitting that reset button until you knew a wee bit more certainty. Yeah. And then once we got right, the game's happening, I was like, right, let's go. Said to my coach, I was like, we're gonna flip the switch again, games mode. Yeah. And then it was changed. So like obviously there we had a conversation yesterday. I was like, right, let's flip the switch. I was like, because obviously I was doing mountain running, getting ready for California. Yeah. I was swimming in the ocean, getting ready for California. I was swimming like in the lake. I was like just getting prepped for being there. And I was like, right, we're only going to swim once a week now. I'm not doing the mountains anymore because now we need to work on speed. Yeah. So I was like, we've just changed the focus. Yeah. So we have again. So I was like, right, 6 weeks, let's go. Yeah. I was like, I'm not stressing about having to get to the lake. I'm not stressing about the tides for the ocean. Yeah. So that kind of like takes stress away from me now as well because I don't need to worry about, being on the mountain at 6 a.m. because the mountain's quiet and you can get a clear route, things like that. So and actually now that it's in a confined, like it's in a gym environment, I actually can control a lot more. Yes. So I can. So I'm probably going to have a lot more time. Yeah. Which is awesome. Yeah. It is, and a lot less stress, a lot less travel.
Yeah. And it's cool because you've essentially there been able to not dwell on the things that you don't have control over, right? Yeah. You don't have control over the changes. You don't have control over unfortunately where the event's going to be held or what it's going to look like. And so it sounds like you've just been able to, at each of those pivotal moments where things completely changed, just been like, okay, that's out of my control, not like wasted any time worrying and stressing about that, and instead 100% refocused on the things that you did have control over. Yeah. Okay, now I know that this is the situation, I know how to best prepare for that situation, laser focus on for that.
So I would definitely say I would have 24-hour panic between like those rational thoughts, but I definitely wouldn't say I'm like super in control, but like I would have like those, that initial what's going on here, but then obviously like my partner and obviously my coach is very, very good at like just bringing me back, like right, what can we control, and then it's just like a process. And then it's like, right, I'm ready, I can do this, sort of thing. So I'm not fully in control all the time.
Nobody is. So let's talk about that, like those stressful moments for a moment. What do you do as an athlete to kind of move through those stressful moments?
Probably for me, it's like the less time I'm on my own, the better. So I am, because if I'm on my own, I'm just like constantly thinking. So I just kind of got like a training group again. It is. So anytime where I am higher stress, I'll just say, right, David, my partner, I'll be like, right, you need to join me for this session. Like if you just sit there, just be there, and if I start to get like irrational thoughts or anything, we'll just chat it out. So we will, or we just chat shit the whole time, and like you just don't even then think about what's going on and what's the negative thing. So it's just get people, so I just don't think. It's because sometimes like I can just overthink it and then it becomes a bigger thing in my head. It is. So anytime when stuff gets like stressful, I just try and be like, right, let's train together at this time. We'll train together at this time. Like even just coming back down to black box again and being able to train here again, obviously, because everywhere's closed for so long. So it's even getting down here once a week, just having the crack again. You know. So anytime I feel like something like that's happening, I'm like, right, let's get back, get to training people, have people around me again. And that kind of like changes things.
It sounds like you are pretty self-aware about what it is that you need to kind of do, what actions you need to take in order to help yourself just move through those difficult moments. Do you think this whole journey of being a CrossFit athlete and your experience as an athlete before as well have really kind of helped you develop more self-awareness, would you say?
Because beforehand, like whenever I first started CrossFit, I was very, very just like, I wouldn't have spoke out. Like if I if I broke my wrist once, so I did training, and I was like, I didn't say it to anyone, and trained on for like I was on a training camp, and I was like, oh, I hurt my wrist, and they were like, is it okay? And I was like, yeah, it's fine. It's fine, it's really sore, but it's fine, you know. And I didn't say anything, and I just kept training and trained until it was like, no, I really hurt my wrist.
The wrist is not cooperating anymore.
This is not normal. You know, kind of thing. So like beforehand, I would have just hid everything away and not spoke out. But now, like I've learned that if I actually get it out, I feel a lot better. So it is. So like just all the experiences, and obviously speaking to different coaches and like psychologists, and just like putting yourself out there a wee bit more. And reading as well a lot more, you've just realised like don't bottle it up, because it only gets worse. So it is. So you just talk, and if it's like, even like I wouldn't have said to David, I would have just been like, I'm fine, and he was like, no, you're not fine, and I'm like, no, I'm fine. So so now it's just like just talk. Just talk, and just learn to trust people as well. It's hard. It's quite hard to trust people, especially in the sport that you're competing against. But it's quite nice to talk to other athletes as well. So it is, because obviously they're going through the same thing as you. So it's quite nice just to talk. So I found that's like I am definitely a better like athlete and coach. So it is, because now I know like even my athletes need to talk to me. And to be approachable. So
what do you think is really needed to start building that trust with the other athletes and building those relationships?
I think just sharing, like sharing your experiences, like like I've been through this, and then they're like, oh right, kind of thing, it's like, like I've been through so much in CrossFit, so I have in such a short space of time, so it's like, just say to your athletes, like I've experienced this, I know how you're feeling, and this is what I've done. And then I think they obviously just start trust you more and more.
That makes a lot of sense. It's almost like you have to be vulnerable first, and then that sort of shows other people that they can be vulnerable as well.
A lot of people just think you're like a robot and you don't have feelings, but it's like you do. So you do, and then obviously, because obviously what you see at competitions, it's totally different to who you are at your home. It's like showing that you do have two sides. A lot of people like look up to certain athletes, and you're like, oh, they're so happy all the time, and you're like, it's what you want them to see. So it is, but until you live with that person for a week, a month, then you actually realize, oh yeah, they're actually the biggest softie you've ever met before. When people start to know me, they're like, like, she's afraid of the dark. A load of people don't know that, but it's like, like I'm just completely human. Like, I am afraid of the dark. Like, I don't like spiders. So we things like that. Once they start to get to know you, and they're like, you're just Emma. So that was quite nice as well. So it's like, just be open as an athlete. Like, it's not a weakness. Sharing, I didn't touch your barbell for 16 weeks. That's just being honest. That is. I think the more people like open up, the better they're going to be, like as a person, as an athlete, as a coach, or influencer, or whatever it is. It's like, just be open and honest. And it doesn't always have to be just for Instagram.
Yeah.
So it doesn't, it can be very, like, relate to life.
Yeah.
So it can.
Yeah, and it makes, I really believe that, as you say, opening up, it really makes you stronger and brings you a much more authentic relationships and connections along the way as well.
Yeah.
Which is, it just makes all the difference, I think, when you're in those environments where, you're really pushing yourself to the max all the time.
Yeah.
And but by being open and, maximizing on the experience and the relationships, you're having an amazing experience along the way.
Definitely.
Yeah. Regardless of crazy worldwide pandemics. Yeah, that's really cool. So is there anything to kind of, I guess, summarize, any kind of bit of advice or tip or thought that you would have about just sort of maintaining that mental side of performance?
I would just say, like, the biggest thing, like, I have found that's helped me is writing things down, daily goals, learning to talk and be open. Like, it's quite hard to share your feelings sometimes, so just share it with the people closest to you, or if you can't share it with people close to you, write it down.
Yeah.
Because writing it down and it being there on paper it is quite powerful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. It's like sharing it with yourself in a way. Yeah. That's awesome. It's been so fun chatting about this. Thank you so much. And I know we're all super excited for you and going to be rooting for you in the filmed CrossFit Games coming up.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's been a blast. Thank you.
No problem.